Hi everyone, welcome to OSNAP, the show where I will be interviewing a different person every single week. This first episode, I bring you Bad Gamer Elite, a dear friend of mine, someone that I consider to be a mentor. Is part of the leadership of the Gametographers. I believe is the face of the Gametographers. He won't like it that I said that. So sorry, Lam. That's why I record this before interviewing people. I hope you guys like this style. If you don't, please let me know in the comments below and catch the interview right after the intro. Okay, Lam, we're on.
All right.
I actually recorded a little introduction before you were
Oh
on.
yeah.
Yeah, so you wouldn't know how to react to my introduction. So
Okay.
you will only see my introduction when this video goes on.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And before we start, my first question for you is what do you know about the questions that I'm about to ask you?
I know very little about the question you're gonna. You've purposely and I see this now that you've purposely kept it vague
Yeah.
because you know how busy I am, and you said, "Hey, can you come on?" I'm like, yeah, man, of course I can come on, and then not realizing anything what we're gonna be talking about. So,
This was all a setup for you. This is a trap. And be ready.
oh no, it's a trap.
So, Lam, let's
Yeah,
start by a basic first question.
yeah.
Could you please tell me the story behind your Scream name, Bad Gamer Elite? Because I know the story, but I chose to start with this one
Yeah.
because it was actually the first question that you uh, did to me when I was on the
Yeah.
show.
yes. Bad Gamer Elite. Actually, I used to be just Bad Gamer, and then my friend Rob out in California, he does game reviews and toy reviews and such like that. He he took an interest in helping me kind of up my game, if you will, in my on screen presence. And he was like, "Bad gamer, and that's great, and anybody can be a bad gamer, but you're the best at being the worst. So we should change your name to Bad Gamer Elite." And I'm like, yeah, that's true. I'm the best at being the worst. So I am now Bad Gamer Elite.
So, you are the best at being the worst. That's one of the best ways to put it. For those of you that don't know, Lamb is not only the best at being the worst, but also the slowest player ever to finish any game. Uh, Second question, Lamb,
Yeah.
and feel free to tell me all about it. Go into details. So, in the channel, there isn't a specific word to it, to what we do. We call it virtual photography, we call it game photography. We give various names to it.
Yeah.
I here in the channel, I call it the art of taking fancy screenshots.
Yes.
So, what got you into the art of taking fancy screenshots?
Um, I started off uh, in my online career and specifically my fancy screenshot career working with a channel called Res TV. They had a show on there called Disney Infinity TV, and I had just gotten into Disney Infinity, and um, I started watching the show and getting tips and hints. I was like, oh, I'd love to look at their Twitter. You know, maybe they have stuff that they do on Twitter, and they would put out a tweet every now and then. But their main stuff was coming from their show. I was like, oh, well, maybe they've got things up on Instagram. They had a Instagram channel or account that had 3 people following it. I was one of it, and they had 2 hosts. So I was like, all right, guys. I had been watching the show and in contact with them a little bit, and I said, hey, I know you know me from Adam, but would you mind if I took over your Instagram channel and started working with it and putting stuff out on it? And they were like, well, I mean, keep it family friendly, but sure, why not? And I was like, you have no problem with me keeping things family friendly. Trust me on this.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's a problem for me, actually.
so, so I started posting images of the figures, the actual physical Disney Infinity figures. And then eventually I was like, okay, well, we have to show things in game. We want to show you guys the figures are great. They're very detailed, but people want to see characters in game.
That's really different from what we see nowadays. In virtual
Yeah.
photography or game photography, it's really different because
Yeah.
it's actually the real world affecting the game.
Yes.
That's really different.
Yeah. It's so cool. And so I started doing in-game pictures of the characters and then short videos of their abilities. And so that got me thinking, well, if I'm doing it in this game, what other games can I do this in? And then I found out about the theater mode in Halo. And I started playing around in the theater mode in Halo. And then I would do not fancy screenshots, but I would time it. Like games that didn't have any kind of photo mode, but I would have to time it, and then I have to in post edit and crop out HUDs because you couldn't get rid of HUDs, and then once we started getting games that had photo mode, it was a whole new world, and it just opened up that to me, and that's all where it started. It all started. Like they say in Disney, it all started with a mouse.
It's amazing. We have been talking for at least 1 year, and
Yeah.
I knew that you started with Disney Infinity, but it actually never hit me that you started before photo modes were even a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Gametographers. So for
those guys.
So, for those of you that don't know, we are both part of the Gametographers leadership, but Lem is actually one of the founding members of the Gametographers. Can you tell the story on how, from the start in the Disney Infinity days to the start of the Gametographers?
It's so funny how many people that are into gametography from like kind of were that starting group of the latest boom of virtual photography started with Disney Infinity in some way. When I was still with Res TV, and then Disney Infinity had ended, but I was still helping out with some shows and doing some streaming for them. I really started getting into this in-game photography, and I wanted to do a show about it. I was like, guys, I want to do a show about it, and they weren't sure. Like the leadership team there wasn't 100% sure that it was going to be a thing. It's very niche. It's like, how many people are really going to watch the show? And one guy who he was part of a movie review show, Steve O. Steve O came to me in a chat, and he was like, "Hey, if this is something you want to do, I guarantee you at least one other person's going to watch, and then they're going to tell their friends this is going on, and then they'll get at least one other person to watch. And more likely it'll be 2 or 3, but." You'll have a group. You might not be a huge group of people that are watching and involved in the community, but it'll be something. And I know you have a passion for it, so I would suggest that you just really push to do it. And Steve O has never steered me wrong when it comes to this stuff. He's the guy that pushed me to go to Target at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's a store for those of you who don't know Target, but to go to Target at 8 o'clock in the morning on October 15th, 2015, which is Back to the Future Day, and get a sweet deal on a PS4. I got my PS4 for $35 with a 2-year agreement. What do you call it?
Deal.
Service plan.
Oh,
Yeah, 2 years. So $35 because of Steve O. And Steve O was the guy he's telling me, hey, do this. So I did, and I found somebody to come along with me, another Disney Infinity friend, Disney Pix chick, because we were both starting to get into it. She, as a matter of fact, she's the one that forced me, and I can't believe I have to say forced me, but she forced me to play Horizon Zero Dawn.
what?
Earlier than I was gonna wait. But she was like, "You need to do it now. I'm buying it for you. You're playing it."
That happens with a lot of games. Oh, I will wait,
Yeah.
but we insist with you, and you end up.
Like, you've got to do it. You've got to do it.
Yeah.
And so she invoked what we call Bad Gamer on Demand, where you buy a game for me with some stipulations. You buy a game for me, I have to play it. And there's a couple people that have taken advantage of that, and she was one of the first ones to do it with Horizon Zero Dawn. And from there, we started getting into into gametography. We were talking about it, and then we had our show, and like in 5 episodes, we had in 3 episodes, it was just us. We were just sitting there talking to each other. 5 episodes, we had 1 or 2 people showing up. 8 episodes, we had our first guest. And our first guest was Lady Snipeshot. And
She started like I started as a guest.
yes. And she was on because we were both part of the Horizon Zero Dawn gallery at PAX Australia a few years back.
That was Drew, right? Drew.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yeah. No. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty
Uncle
sure.
Drew. Uncle Drew.
Yeah.
Uncle Drew. We call him the godfather of gametography because he brought a lot of us together. And he brought us together before the gametographers were even a thing, before the show wasn't even a thing, because he was part of the development team for Disney Infinity.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Uncle Drew has been affecting my gaming life for a long time.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And so Lady Snipeshot joined our team, and she brought a whole new concepts and ideas and thought process to what we were doing on the show. And then Tidy Mice, then who was Tonti or Tomfiosa, she came in as a influential member of our community, and Cats and Bolts and Ghost
Focus.
Ghost Focus.
I actually joined the Discord because of Ghost Focus.
See,
yeah,
and that's it. Just started growing, and people started talking. But now we're not this huge community. I mean, and I think that's part of our charm is that we're not a huge community. We're very tight knit, yet encouraging community for others. That's that's the gametographer's motto or mantra.
I love that you are because that was going to be my next question.